Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm your host, Raleen Marks, with the top stories from Israel and the region on this platform and also on our YouTube channel. And if you would like to help get news from Israel out to people who might not get it on their mainstream news sources, well, click on the subscribe button and bring your friends too. We love our growing online community. But without further ado, let's take a look at those top stories making headlines. And El Al flight LY971 that flew from Tel Aviv to Abu Dhabi over Saudi airspace yesterday on its inaugural and historical trip is now on its way back to Israel without the US delegation on board, but with promises of great mutual cooperation. So let's break down the last 24 hours. Very, very important, very historic. We've all been watching this with a lot of excitement from Israel. Last night, Israel's Prime Minister addressed the nation on air. He spoke about the mutual agreement, the Abraham Accords, and he said that it will be a very, very warm peace and that he has extended an invitation to a delegation from the United Arab Emirates to visit Israel. But what has happened over the last 24 hours has been extremely busy indeed. So what we do know is that there will be mutual embassies opening soon. An Emirati embassy will open in Tel Aviv, and direct flights will resume within the weeks. Some have even reported, we saw on Bloomberg today, that Etihad, which is one of the airlines in the United Arab Emirates, has already started selling tickets to Israelis. And we also know that the flight currently en route back to Israel is flying over Saudi airspace. It's unclear whether or not flights between the two countries will fly over Saudi airspace, but we will keep you updated on that as well. We also know that the first memorandum of understanding between the two countries has been signed, and this is in the field of banking and finance, and will also help stop the funneling of terrorist money if they do funnel their money through the UAE. So that's of huge strategic importance, not just for the two countries, but also for the region. It was also agreed yesterday that mutual intelligence cooperation will start between the two countries, and earlier today the Jewish Agency for Israel also announced that education opportunities and programs as well as camps will be available to educate about Judaism and mutual cultural exchanges. What was particularly moving to see is that last night and this morning there was a minyan held in the synagogue in Abu Dhabi. Very, very moving pictures of the Israeli delegation saying evening and morning prayers in the synagogue. Really, really emotional to see that. And the front page of the Khaliji Times, which is the longest running daily, had salam and shalom with a picture of the leaders of the three delegations: United Arab Emirates, the United States with Jared Kushner, and Meir Ben Shabbat, the leader of the Israeli delegation, who on landing yesterday addressed everybody in Arabic before switching to Hebrew. Also interesting today was news that Prime Minister Netanyahu had embarked on a secret visit to the Emirati state in 2008. So an extraordinary time, and Jared Kushner has spoken quite movingly of promoting regional peace, and the American delegation is still based right now in the UAE. We have had some sour grapes, this time from Iran, who have called United Arab Emirates a traitor to all of Islam by signing this agreement of normalization, the Abraham Accords, with the state of Israel. But one thing that the Emirati leaders did do was reassure the Palestinians that they still support their cause for two states. And addressing the issue of annexation, they said that they had been assured by the Americans that annexation would not take place. So great times indeed, and we hope that more countries in the region will join the UAE in normalizing their ties with the Jewish state. In other news, today was back to school for 2.4 million Israeli children and a lot of relieved parents as schools open to start the new school year. At least 300 institutions do remain closed because they are in areas known as red zones or areas where there are still high infections. But we wish all of our Israeli scholars from Gan, from the nursery school or kindergarten, to Kita Aleph, the first year of primary school, right up until the Bagrut, the matriculation, and our university students, a great school year. May it be productive, may it be filled with wonderful memories, wonderful experiences, and we hope no more horrible interruptions. So, Bahatzlacha, good luck to all of Israel's returning or starting students. And our final story today takes us to the south of Israel, where a ceasefire has been reached between Hamas and the IDF, and Hamas have agreed to halt the sending of arson balloons, which we have seen over the last couple of weeks, that have set fires to thousands and thousands of dunams of agricultural land. That has stopped, and the IDF have let in much needed fuel to resume electricity, to resume power back into the Gaza Strip, and we hope that this ceasefire continues to hold. Those are your top stories. Don't forget to check out our original content online, and if you're looking for us, you can find us at www.layoftheland.online. You can read Dave Kaplan's article all about how Tel Aviv is doing extraordinary things to make sure that students don't have an uninterrupted or have an interrupted school year. Check us out on our Facebook page. If you haven't already, like us, follow us, share our content. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Israel Brief. You help get news from Israel out to the world. We're also on Twitter, and you can interact with us at Lay of the Land 5, at Lay of the Land 5. That's a lot of social media. It's also a lot of news. I'm a whole lot of host, Rolene Marks, with The Israel Brief, and we'll chat again tomorrow.